right, 3 things in 3 minutes. Let's get it. So, let me tell you something that sounds backwards, but actually works. You need to be doing things that do not scale. When Airbnb first launched, their listings were struggling because the photos that the host took were just awful. So, what did the founders of Airbnb do? They didn't send an email, they didn't build a web tool. They grabbed a camera, knocked on doors, and took professional photos themselves. That was wildly unscalable, but it was the smartest thing they could have done. With professional photos, they were able to get bookings, prove their concept, and build a multi-billion-dollar business. This comes from Paul Graham's essay, Do Things That Don't Scale. And it absolutely applies to what we do as real estate professionals. If you are a newer agent or trying to reboot your business, don't act like the top producer. Act like somebody who's hungry, spunky, nimble, real. Drop off that handwritten note. Offer to help on move-in day. Do pop-by visits to your past clients. These are all things that we can do to show we are serious about it, building relationships, and ready to go. Now, none of that scales, but it cuts through the noise, and that's how you go from 0 to 1. So this week, let's all do something unscalable on purpose. By the end of 2025, more homeowners in America will have mortgage rates over 6% than under 3%. Now, if I told you that back in the middle of 2022 when rates first started shooting up, you probably would have said, well, that means there's a housing crash that's coming, right? Well, it never came. Home prices stayed surprisingly steady and have even gone up in some places. Why? Because the housing doomers were wrong. There was no flood of listings, no big wave of foreclosures, and certainly no crash. The simple truth is this: prices fall when there is oversupply of inventory. So yes, affordability right now is tough. Higher prices, higher rates. That part's real. But let's remember, the people predicting a collapse have been wrong again and again. The market didn't break. In some ways, it froze. So don't let fear guide your decisions. Follow the data and not doom. And finally, with the government shutdown, mortgage rates have been pretty flat for the last 2 weeks. Remember that the one thing that's really going to move the market right now is indication about the jobs market. With unemployment continuing to rise, we are likely to see lower rates. But right now, there's no economic data being released due to the government shutdown. So what we've seen is just a relatively flat mortgage market for the last 2 weeks. Right now, 30-year fixed rates are about 6.375 nationally. All right? Y'all got this.